Hey planner friends, welcome back to the channel. This is Rachel from Rachel on Paper, and today I'm going to be sharing how I'm using the Hobonichi Weeks and the plotter and the Bible size as my personal planning system. So if that sounds good, let's jump right in. So if you've been following along on my channel, you'll know that I started the year off in the N1 Common Planner from Sterling Ink. This was in the horizontal layout, and I was using the Plotter Mini. This is a pocket size ring setup as a sort of companion on the go planner and notebook. And I realized in using this setup that I was using the plotter way more than I anticipated, in large part because I love the freedom of this setup. Like, I never think twice about writing things down, whereas I would have this like voice in my head telling me that I wanted to be careful because I was using this for dailies and for other trackers, and that I didn't want to write everything down because I was worried that I would end up using more pages than I had available. And so I was, again, using this way more than I anticipated. And since this sort of turned into a really core part of my system, this was feeling pretty small. I like the pocket rings, but I needed more space than this for what this evolved into, which is what led me to purchase this Bible size plotter. I have loved the Plotter brand for the last few years, and I didn't have the Bible size in my collection, and I love it. I'm so happy with this. But of course, when I set up my Bible size plotter, I ended up sort of using it in slightly different ways than how I was using the Mini 6. And essentially what happened is that this became really the core of my planning system. I ended up moving my dailies in here, some of the trackers and collections I kept in here, because this comes with me everywhere. And I mean everywhere. When I, am running to the store or going to a doctor's appointment, or I am downstairs, just like not in my office, and my son is playing with his toys, like this is what's always nearby. This just feels like such an incredibly functional and flexible system for me. It sort of evolved again to just be like the center of my personal planning, which then made this feel like unnecessarily spacious. This is how planner brains work. So like, stay with me if you are a notebook planner person and you get what I mean. If not, we're all different people. Because as I'm saying this, I'm thinking to myself like, well, now that I'm using this so much more, I have more than enough pages here. But this just felt like it wasn't the right companion for this as my main planner system. This felt like too much space and too much unused space. And I've also been commuting back to work more frequently than I have been in a long time. I'm back in the office 3 or 4 days a week, which means I have a longer commute. And this just felt like this was unnecessary, but I was missing the dated pages. And so I was leaving this home, but I wanted my dated monthlies and my dated weeklies. That's where the Hobonichi Weeks entered the chat. I was also just kind of missing the Hobonichi Weeks. I have had a Hobonichi planner in my lineup for the last 6 years, and this was my first year not having any Hobonichi planners in my lineup. I started the year trying to use the day free for my work planning, but I had a really bad batch of the paper, and there was really significant bleed through with the highlighters I typically use, and so I stopped using that quickly after the new year. And so I was just missing the Hobonichi Weeks is like one of the big explanations for why this is here. And I wanted something much more slim and portable than the N1 size common planner. So I picked up the April Start Hobonichi Weeks, and this is basically replicating all of the dated parts of the common planner. So the monthlies and weeklies, I have a few collections set up in the back, but not a lot. And all of my other planning, note-taking, my dailies are in the plotter. So let's start with a flip through of how I've set up the Hobonichi Weeks, and then I'll talk through how I've set up the plotter. And I'm filming these videos together. I thought about filming just like a Hobonichi Week setup and just a plotter setup, but because they feel like a part of the same system, I'm going to film these together. And I'm also going to try not to make this video a million years long because I hate editing long videos. So let's talk about the hobonichi weeks. This is I think it's the Yumi Kirigashi. I'll put it on the screen if I'm wrong. Cover, I love this cover from the original 2025 release. This is the April start, and so I was very excited to see it available again for the April start and pick this up. I have a pencil board from the same line here, and then just some stickers. I have an old Instax here, and I keep the hobonichi stencil, and I just have this in the hobonichi clear cover. And then I keep, I have so many old hobonichi ballpoint pens, and I have never been a fan of this pen until this year. I don't know why, something just clicked with me, and I've been really enjoying the Uniball pens this year, and so this is what I always keep here, and this is what I mostly use in this planner. And so we have, again, just some stickers, and you can see there still is more ghosting and a little bit of bleed through than I'm used to with this paper. And these are just mild liners, so it's really surprising, but it's not that bad, and it's definitely functional. So here on this first page, I'm just marking off my husband and my pay dates with different color mild liners, and then using stickers to mark off where we are in the year. I need to add a sticker for March. I'm filming this in the middle of April. And then here we have this sort of annual tracker that I was missing, and Catherine from Sterling Ink added a tracker like this into the Common Planner, which I was very excited to see. And so I'm using this in the same way I was using it in my Sterling Ink Common Planner, where I'm just writing down the type of workout I did and highlighting it using this key. I have been walking a lot, but I have not been doing much of anything else, which reflects this sort of transitional season of life I'm in. We just started going back into the office more, and it's been a big transition. I have not had to go into an office consistently since 2019, and so I'm giving myself grace as I get used to sort of new routines here. But here again, this is my fitness tracker. And then I have my monthly set up. I set up all of my monthlies at once because I use these as a future log. As things get scheduled, I write them down in here. I used these tiny stickers from the planner spot, and these I believe are also from the planner spot, these little birthday cakes. So I mark birthdays, events, travel, anything that is scheduled as it's scheduled goes in here, and if I need to cross things out, I cross things out. It's not a big deal. I really love having, again, things as they're scheduled go on this monthly page and be able to see a monthly overview as it comes together. So that's the monthly setup. And then I am using my weeklies very similar to how I was using my weeklies in my Sterling Ink Common Planner. I'm writing on the left side here, big events or deadlines or things going on. Some work stuff makes its way in here. So when I have to be in DC, I usually write it down here. I will write down any big appointments, whether they are for work or for personal. Basically, I want to have a snapshot of the major things that I have coming up in a week here so I don't forget them. But it's not a complete schedule. I also use Outlook for work. Here, it's really just the things I have to be aware of for being a functional human during the week, if that makes sense. I have to remember if I have a haircut, so I know to wash my hair that morning. I have to remember if I need to be in DC for an 11 o'clock event, so I know to get dressed in a certain way. So things like that. And then here I have been keeping track of writing. So I've been trying to write more just personal creative projects, and this tracking just helps me understand how much I'm prioritizing it. And so I have a little highlighter, and I'm writing down how many hours a day I have spent doing my personal creative writing projects. I haven't been able to spend a ton of time on it because I have a full-time job and I have a toddler and other things going on. But it's been useful as a reminder that this is something I want to prioritize, and then being able to see how much time I'm spending on it. And then I set up a habit tracker at the top with just a few of my core habits. I have a running to-do list for the week that I keep here. This is all personal to-dos and stuff for family and house, just anything I know I need to get done that week. Then I have I write down all of the books I'm in the middle of or I want to start at the beginning of the week, and I use the Hobonichi Central to draw a circle, and I will start filling it out if I read it at all that week, and then I will fill it in completely if I finish the book that week. I am a mood reader and I love reading multiple books at once. It helps me keep on top of reading, essentially. Like if I'm not in the mood to read the heavy nonfiction I was in the middle of, I will pick up the historical romance that I was enjoying. And so again, reading multiple books is a habit I really enjoy, and it's just helpful for me to like have them all in one place to remember like the books I was in the middle of or the books I want to start for a variety of reasons. And then here at the bottom, I usually call this creating or sometimes writing. And these are the things I want to get done for the like fun, creative projects I have in my life. That includes my Substack, which I'll link down in the description box below. My Substack is mostly focused on book reviews and bookish related sort of topics, but I also do talk about journaling and notebooks because I love journaling and notebooks, and I will talk about them wherever I get the opportunity to. So that's what my weeklies look like. It's really functional. Of course, I use some stickers, but it's functional first and foremost. And then I will write things as they come up in this section. I try not to write things that are too uncertain in the weekly pages. I will put those in the monthly pages. For about a month out, I will just start writing things in so that way I can be aware of like the core things going on. And then we get to the notes pages. And so I'm using these for some collections and trackers. I'm still trying to figure out like where I want all of my collections and trackers, whether I want them in the weeks, whether I want them in my plotter. And I even have some collections in my main journal, which is this B6 Sterling ink daily planner. And so this feels like a work in progress in terms of how I want this set up, but I'll share how I've currently set this up. So here I cover this up and I just have my word of the year and my like top goals for the year. I have a finance tracker that I just have clipped off that I'm not going to show, and then a cycle tracker, an adulting log, and this is like adulting but for my kid, so just things I know I need to be aware of, or like when did he last go to the dentist, things like that. And then I set up a bucket list and a brain dump. I should say these letter stickers are from Randy.plans. I will link down to her shop below, but I've been loving these lately. So a bucket list and a brain dump. Bucket list is just like things I would love to get done at some point this year, and it's more sort of fun things. And a brain dump is a place to put tasks that I know I want to get done at some point, and these are tasks that don't have defined deadlines, like reorganize my bookshelves. Like I know I want to do that, but it doesn't have a defined timeline, and so I will put stuff like that here. And then I've gone ahead and set up these sort of monthly landing pages through the end of the year. These are stickers from Planner Monkey Co. And the way I've set this up is I have what I'm calling just creative goals. These are the sort of like creative things I want to get done in April, like publish 3 Substack newsletters. These are the journaling things or like journaling projects I'm in the middle of and I want to remember to work on. Then I have some personal goals, a personal to-do list, and a personal to-buy list. And so I really like having this monthly landing page as a place to put some of these monthly tasks that I don't know which week I'll work on them yet. So that's my setup. There's nothing else here. I did some pen test in the back. And again, the paper, it feels different than previous Hobonichi paper, but it's not that bad, and it's working really well for my needs right now. So I'm really loving this April start Hobonichi weeks and just loving being in the Hobonichi weeks again. I use this planner for years as my main personal planner, and there's something very comforting about being back in the Hobonichi weeks. So that's the weeks. And then to accompany the weeks is my personal size plotter. This is in the Pueblo leather. This is the brown, and I am absolutely loving this leather. I'm loving how lived in it feels. I love the plotter system. I have never been a big fan of rings because I find it uncomfortable to write in when I'm writing on this side of the page because of the rings. But because these are such small rings, these are, I think, 11 millimeter rings, I don't have that issue at all. I don't find it uncomfortable. And because I don't find it uncomfortable, I'm just using this so much. It's so comfortable, it's so portable, it's so flexible. I'm really, really loving the plotter system. So I have a lot of the accessories from Plotter here, the ring protector. Oh, I gotta make sure I'm in frame. The zipper pocket where I'm keeping some functional stickers and some date stickers. These are the date stickers from Planner Monkey Co. I've been really loving these this year. And then I have a bunch of functional stickers from Papery Planning books, laptop, clock as a reminder for appointments. And then I have I think it's called the band lifter. I'm not sure of the exact name of all of these items, but these are the like common accessories that come with Plotter. And then I have some just like cover pages. This came with the book. This came with one of the insert packages I picked up. I have these to-do list inserts that I'm using as a bit of an inbox. And the goal here, I haven't really used it yet, but my intention with setting this up is I could just jot down like things I know I need to get done at some point, and then I would reference this at the beginning of the week when I'm setting up my weekly to-dos and process them then. So I just have 2 pages of these to-do pages. And then I cut down and hole punch this dashboard from Sterling Ink. This came with, I picked up one of the N2 common planners that I have not used. If you are in need of a D-Stash N2 common planner the full year, please comment down below. I am happy to part with it and sell it. So I cut that down. That came with that order. And then I picked up these dividers from, I believe the shop is called Soft Paper Studios. It used to be called something Sweet Freckle Designs. I will link down to the shop below, but I picked up these dividers, and what I did was I cut them down a bit because of the tiny rings. If you get like regular personal size dividers, they're going to have a bit of a hard time like flipping them. And so I cut this down a bit, and now they flip very easily and they're very thin, which works very well for the plotter paper. So I have 5 sections in here. I'm still figuring out this setup, but again, the setup is just so flexible, and that's one of the reasons I love it. And so I'm still kind of like feeling my way around it and trying to figure out how I want this to be set up, but it's working really well for me in the meantime. So this first section is for trackers, projects, collections, and like creative notes. Again, I'm not sure where I want to have all my trackers and collections, and I have some of them set up here. My initial thinking was that I would set up ones that feel more like fluid and that I might want to rewrite multiple times in the year here, rather than in my Hobonichi weeks, where I set up trackers and collections I know I won't need to set up again, if that makes sense. So I have 2 of these like folder inserts. This one has just a list of things I want to publish for Substack, and then I'm checking them off and writing the date I publish them. Here, I'm also doing the same for YouTube. So whenever I have an idea for something I want to film for YouTube, I will write it down here, and then I will check it off and write down the date. And then here I set up some finance trackers, or sort of finance. I have just running expenses. I want to keep track of my personal, for fun, unnecessary spending. Unnecessary in the sense that, like, you know, I don't need it. It's not like my light bill. So I'm just trying to keep track of that type of spending here. I set up a page for wish lists, so I'm trying to make sure I write things down and like sit with it before hitting checkout. And then I set up a page for de-stash, because I am trying to de-stash a bunch of stationery items I have and covers. I just reorganized my office, and I have a big pile of stuff I know I want to de-stash, and so I want to write things down and then slowly check it off as I sell it. So these are the collections I have set up in this first section. My next section is my dailies. And then I just put a sticker here from one of the Sterling Ink subscription kits last year. I have been loving using the plotter for my dailies because, again, I just don't feel at all confined to how much space I'm taking up on a day-to-day basis. And I'm using stickers in here, some washi tape. What I typically do is I will set this up the night before, and I will write down whatever personal things I know I need to get done. And then I also rapid log for the day. And rapid logging is a term that comes from the bullet journaling community, but really here the goal is to just know what I did in that day at a high level. So if I don't have time to journal, or if I journal about something else, like I need to journal about like my thoughts and feelings instead of what we did, I have a record somewhere of what we did. I really just like knowing what I did on a day-to-day basis. I feel like the project of remembering my life, I'm trying to be much more intentional with, because I'm in a very busy season of life, and it's very easy to forget like what I was doing last Tuesday. Very easy to forget. And sometimes what I was doing last Tuesday was fun or memorable or important, and I just want to keep a record of it. So I, again, write down just like what happened and when, and some personal to-do lists. Sometimes I take up more space, sometimes I take up less. It is working really well for me. I'm really loving this setup. So that's my dailies. And then here I have a section for reading. Now I have a separate reading journal. It's one that I keep on my desk and I keep up to date on about a monthly basis. I don't take my reading journal with me everywhere. I really don't ever take it out of my house, but I constantly reading, and I love like sort of processing what I'm reading by writing things down, either writing quotes or writing down like things I loved about the book, what I'm not liking about the book. Just writing things down helps me process like everything in my life, including reading. And reading is a big part of my life, and I love thinking critically about what I'm reading and why I love something, why I don't love something, why I think something is good, why I think something is bad. And so I'm using these pages for that. So when I start reading a book, I will just write the title here, and then as I'm reading, I keep this open with me. And this book really comes with me everywhere. Like this book is with me all the time. This is the book that like is just a companion to my life. So this has been working great for me in terms of just having a space to, again, write down notes and thoughts and feelings about what I'm reading. And then when I'm finished, I will write the star rating. I'm really, really loving this setup. I write monthly recaps of everything I've read in my Substack newsletter, which is linked down below. And then I will reference these pages when I'm writing those recaps to remember how I felt and why I liked or didn't like a book. So this is my reading section. And then here, this first page, I just have a list of things I'm currently reading, and then I will cross it off when I finish it and put the date I finished it. I need to add a couple of books that I have started since, but I've been enjoying just like this running log of books I've started and finished since I have been in this setup. And then I have these last two sections are sort of a work in progress. I'm still figuring out exactly how I want to use them. But right now I am using this as like a miscellaneous notes section, which includes notes for work. I keep my work planning and note taking very separate, but this is my like portable everyday carry notebook that comes with me everywhere. And so, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I was at a conference in DC, and this is what I took with me. And I just took sort of messy notes when I was in different conference sessions or when I was in meetings with different folks. And then I just pulled out those work notes when I was done. And so that's what I am using this section for, just like notes and miscellaneous, including miscellaneous work notes. And my plan is to get 2 archive binders, one for all of my personal notes and one for my work notes. I think it might take me a while to fill up an archive binder for my work notes coming from the plotter. And then this last section I have been using for journaling, which I will keep covered. And that's again because this is always with me. I don't always have my journal with me. So if I have just some things I need to work out or get down on paper, feelings I need to figure out, that's where they will go. And then in the back here, I just have some more stickers and a writing board from Traveler's Company and some stamps. So this is my just super functional and flexible plotter system. I'm really, really loving the plotter setup, and I'm really loving the Bible size in particular. So that is my personal planning system. This is working great for me. Although I will have to admit, I'm a little nervous. I feel like every time I film a planner setup video for YouTube, I end up rethinking my planner system. But this has been working great for me. I really wanted to share what I'm currently using. If you have any questions about where anything is from or how I'm using anything or how this setup works, please leave them down in the comments below. Thanks for hanging out and spending some time with me, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now.